I'll open by just welcoming everybody today to our breastfeeding learning burst on building blocks for a breastfeeding friendly childcare program. My name's Maria Hitt, and I'm with the Orange County Partnership for Young Children. And I'll be leading the session today with Natasha Bowden from Buncombe County. And we'll thank all the many people that help us get this together as we go along. But our topic for today is creating a breastfeeding space. And we've got some great presenters today. We're going to talk about how to fund, create, and promote this space in your center. We're going to hear from Darlene Brannon at Kids Corner Academy in Durham and Anna Mercer McLean and her daughter Faith from the Community School for People Under 6 in Carborough. And I'm going to share a little bit from Carla Pedrotti, who has a family childcare home in Chatham called Little Sweet Potatoes. She couldn't actually be with us because you know how it is in the family childcare home. She's with the kids all day, but she did share some great information that we can share with you to help you help family childcare homes understand that they too can create these great spaces for themselves. So welcome to everyone. And I'll just say again, if you're just joining us, please type your name, county, and the name of your program or your agency into the chat for us. So we have a lot on the agenda. It's super packed. We are going to review our objectives, show a little video that we show before every one of our programs. That's sort of our why about healthy communities. And we'll talk a little bit about the designation criteria that are related to your space. So through all of these, we've been talking about the 10 steps to a breastfeeding friendly childcare, and some of those steps are associated with spaces. So we'll talk about those. We'll talk about all the benefits of doing this, both for your moms and your staff. We'll hear from our directors about how they created their spaces and how it changed their work. And then we're going to talk a little bit about some of the rules and the regulations and the laws surrounding what you can and should do, and where you can do it and how you can do it. Natasha's going to talk a little bit about funding, and then hopefully we'll have just a couple minutes left to have a discussion if you want to share some ideas about how you think you might proceed with this in your center. So our objectives are to gain an understanding of why breastfeeding is important. That's what the video will share. As I've said, we're going to talk about creating a comfortable space, how it's beneficial to moms and the program. We'll see lots of great examples. Hopefully you'll get a lot of good ideas, and we'll do some sharing at the end. So those are our objectives. And I am going to run the video.
Is there a place where everyone, regardless of race, economic background, or gender, grows up with the opportunity for good health, a good education, and a good job? This place is not in our heads, but in our hands. It starts with a mother and a baby. Actually, it can start with all of us. It can start with you. When you support a woman's health long before she chooses to have a baby, and when she gets pregnant, you help her receive excellent prenatal care close to her home, where you explain why breastfeeding matters in a manner and language she understands. Before she gives birth, in a baby-friendly hospital you helped establish, where you help her breastfeed her baby right away, allowing her to bond with her baby, who breastfeeds well, and you're always there to help. When this mom and baby go home, you help them some more, and her friends and family do too. And she breastfeeds her baby for at least 6 months, and gets to stay home and care for her baby. And her partner gets time too, because they have paid family leave, thanks to your efforts that made it the law. And when she returns to work, her boss encourages her to take breaks, to pump in a clean space required by the law you helped pass. And there's childcare right there, where people understand why breastfeeding matters, because you led the way. On the weekends, her family shops at a local green market you helped set up, where they buy good food that is local, healthy, and affordable, that helps her child run, play, learn, and grow up in a safe community with clean air and good water. Until one day, many years from now, she gets her own job with good parental leave and has her own child and breastfeeds her. It takes every one of us to create a culture where breastfeeding is the norm and help a community become healthy right from the start. Beginning with one mother and one baby, we can help achieve health equity everywhere. Each and every one of us can make it possible.
So we talked about the 10 steps, and one of the point 6 is that we're actively inviting breastfeeding moms to come into our program and nurse their babies anywhere they want. And we're going to revisit that a couple of times. And this is a picture I took at Spanish or Fun in Chapel Hill, and you can see the mom is right here nursing her baby. She comes down a couple times a day. She happens to work nearby at the hospital, and that's easy for her.
Just put the 10 steps for breastfeeding friendly childcare in the chat from CBGI. So go ahead and check that out.
Excellent. Then we have that there is a clean and comfortable place in the program other than a bathroom for moms to sit and nurse their babies or pump and express milk if desired. It can be very simple. This is an example of a very simple space here, right up the street from me in Hillsborough at the Center of Excellence. And last is that the program displays posters and distributes materials, including photos that reflect the families we serve and that show the support of breastfeeding and demonstrate best practices. So there's lots of great materials out there. There's lots of posters you can get. This is just one example of a poster from the Carolina Global Breastfeeding Institute that you can download for free and post in your space and have all around your center. We really actually want you to have these posters all around the center, not just in the breastfeeding space, so that everybody sees that you're supporting breastfeeding. And this is a brand new poster that just came out from DCDEE. I found it on their new webpage where they're promoting the new designation application, Breastfeed Anytime, Anywhere. And we'll talk about the laws a little bit later on. Why do we want to do this? Why are we doing this? Well, other than the fact that it's the law, we know that it's going to make families feel more comfortable. It's going to make them feel more positive about your program and welcome if they're wanting to breastfeed their baby or their child. For staff and for parents, they're going to be way more able to attend work or school if they are being supported in their breastfeeding journey. We know for parents of staff in particular, they're going to have fewer absences because they're going to be healthier. Their baby is going to be healthier. And it's a supportive environment that can help you retain your employees. If they are breastfeeding, they are going to feel way more welcome and supported if you create space for them where they can have privacy and do what they need to do, whether it's pumping or feeding their babies. Natasha, do you want to add to that at all?
I just feel like this is something that as we move along in this journey, like the video was talking about, creating this across the state, which we are in a lot of different places. When we create these environments that support our employees, our workforce, it gets stronger. And so we're starting to see that the employee retention piece is huge. A lot of centers don't have enough space to have a breastfeeding space or a pumping space in their center. And that's why we've showcased 3 different options for you in this training. And our presenters are going to talk about those. But it's also just something to think about. How do we support our employees? And we'll probably do another training that's going to be strictly based on that.
Okay, thanks. So I don't know if Miss Darlene's ready, but you are on. We're going to hear from Darlene Brannon. Here is her space.
Hi, everyone. Happy Tuesday. My name is Darlene Brannon, and I am the director of Kids Corner Academy 2. Before I get started, I want to say thank you to CCSA, TAs, Christy Farmer, Swanda Warren, and Beverly Williams. Through Shape NC is what really got me started in put together a breastfeeding station. It wasn't something I was thinking about doing for a very long time, I wasn't thinking about it, but with the program, you know, that I joined in, there has been a lot of improvement at my center, a lot of improvement. I just want to give you an overall look at what the area looks like next. I wanted to talk a little bit about the rocker because it came from another center that actually shut down. And a lot of the funds that I did use for the station, for my lactation station, did come from the SHAPE NC program. And not only that, but I also held a fundraiser, car wash fundraiser. And I also used quite a bit of the money to put together the station. Next. I wanted to make sure that the background area was, you know, kind of colorful. So I used flowers and I enlarged them, and I thought that was very, very cute. Next. Here, when it came to privacy, two things I wanted to mention here. I did want to give the parent privacy when she did breastfeed, but at the same time, I still wanted to put up a sheer curtain because the breastfeeding station is in my infant room. Therefore, if the teacher's on the other side of the room, she could still see, you know, when a little toddler probably crawled over there or something like that, she would still be able to see the infant or the toddler in that area, but still giving the parent the privacy that she needs to breastfeed. Next. I have my handout in that corner. As you can see, the red folder there. It has quite a bit of good information in there that you all had mentioned earlier about the different types of resources. And in that handbook, I have resources for parents to be able to pull from it and take with them. And here's my breastfeeding board. And I thought that was very nice for them to be able to have something to look at. A lot of the information that I do have posted there is something that I wasn't even aware of, like the color of the milk when you first start breastfeeding and that type of thing, and the size of the tummy of a little baby when they start feeding and stuff like that. And I found that to be very, very interesting. I just have the cost of what it took to, you know, put this all together in the corner. But for the most part, you know, just given the comfort feel of the lactation station or space. Next. One of the things that we did, and I say we, I'm talking about the staff and I, we met several times to find the right spot in the infant room. I do have an office space, but I thought it was kind of tight, and it gets warm in there when the door is closed. So I thought that the infant room would be the better place to hold or place the feeding station in. And through my staff, we work very hard to find the right material to put together, you know, the right type of comfort for the mother. And not only that, but you can't see it, but the station is close to the door. So we can always open up the door, and the mother can always get plenty of fresh air. And when I say the community also assisted, because like I said, we had a fundraising, car fundraising, and I, you know, shared with them where the money would go. And this was one of the things that, you know, a lot of people really poured money into the program when I spoke on the breastfeeding station. So a lot of people was really excited about that. I even had a few people to come in and hang the curtain for me, because I'm not as tall. Even though I had a ladder, I still couldn't reach the ceiling. And once again, we found the best spot for the mother to breastfeed. You know, the spot that I chose, or we chose, was very inviting, very comfortable, and very relaxing as well. We have had one mother thus far to come in and breastfeed, but her child is a part of the program. And we'll talk more about the designations piece. And I know you had mentioned that earlier, Maria. And Christy Farmer had also sent me some information about becoming a designated breastfeeding site. And I definitely want to get more information on that before I just, put that out there or fill out that application. Because with COVID and some other things, I just want to make sure that, we provide good safety, not only for the parent who is breastfeeding, but definitely for every child that's in that infant room. So that's very important to me. So, and I just have my little guy here. He's the tester of the of the chair, and he's looking at me. He was like, he's just looking at. He was saying, "Yes, ma'am, that chair is very comfortable." So I think my parents would be very comfortable in sitting in this chair breastfeeding.
Arlene, would you mind to present a little when we get to the fundraising slide and talk a little bit about your fundraising efforts?
Sure.
Okay, that'd be awesome.
That was great, Darlene. Thank you so much. I love the bulletin board with all the kids' pictures all around it. I have one question. I noticed that it was sort of up on a little platform. Was that just a feature that already existed in that classroom?
Yes, already existed. Yes.
So kind of a nice way to sort of divide the space without dividing it.
Yeah.
Welcome, Anna.
Thank you, Maria. So thank you for the opportunity to share, Maria, with the group. When community school first started, when it's developed its policies for breastfeeding, one of the things that we wanted to have was a space that was safe for moms and their children to be in. So one of the things we decided to do was look at what we currently had, because we were already using the classroom. That was the only space we really had. We had a multi-purpose room that was really, it was more of a junk room. Everything got stored in there, as you'll see in a minute. And we just wanted to create something special that parents could enjoy and relax in, but also still keep it as a multi-purpose room. So if you go to the next slide, Maria. So in August of 2016, we created this space. We call it Serenity Place, because it is a serene place for our families, for our staff and our therapists. And, we just decided to use that multi-purpose room that you'll see in a minute for this particular space. And it didn't cost a whole lot, as you see in the previous slides. There's so many things that you can do to create this space. This room is about 200 square feet. We painted the room white. And you'll see back there in the corner, there's a wallpaper that is about $39 that we put in the backdrop. The little furniture there, we went to the Restore that, right here in Chapel Hill. I think I paid $10 or $15 for that, as well as chairs that were in there, about $25 for those, and went to like Ollie's and got the little ottomans at the bottom, the little brown ottomans and those cushions from Ollie's, as well as those green lampshades. So it was very inexpensive, under $300 to create. It's still a great multi-purpose room. And I'll show you another picture on the next slide. And we used all of our, community resources to do this, So if you go to the next slide. So you see that picture over to the left, that corner is what that space looked like before. I mean, it became a room where we just stacked the chairs, stored stuff, even though it was, a place where we could have different materials and things in there, but everybody kept bringing things in. And then just over a weekend, I just decided to create this particular space and make it something that is more comfortable. You see the lamps, we bought the lamps and then found, inexpensive shade covers for those, inexpensive furniture there. And we bought the little, what do you call them? The little containers to go inside, which are usually about $5. And then the baby chairs that are on the floor play music. So while the parents are in there, they can play nice, quiet, calming music, to put the baby to sleep or just to relax while they're in there. They can do it either way. So it's a fun part that they've been able to do. Shaheen, our infant teacher, actually made the cushions for our rocking chair that is in the room. So we had staff that could sew. So that was helpful too. And if you go on to the next slide, Maria. So on the other side of the room, what you see is the space for the therapist. We have our speech therapists, any of the therapists that work with the kids, language on any different areas, OTs, can come into the space and work with the kids at the table, or we even have a small table that they can use as well. But it serves as a multi-purpose space because the staff can come in and during lunch or that kind of thing to lounge. And you'll see the sign over to the right where there's a sign for the therapist, there's a sign for staff, there's a sign for, breastfeeding, and we have all of that. And then we even have a space where the parents at the end of the day, when they were coming in, if they were just waiting on a parent or just needing a space to relax for a few minutes early in the morning or at the end of the day, they could actually there's a bin that has books in it. And the fathers or mothers could come in there and read books to the kids while they waited for each other. So it served a multi-purpose space, not just for the babies, but for their siblings and anyone else that wanted to come into that space. So it was very relaxing and enjoyable. And we were able to get our designation for breastfeeding back in 2017. The only addition piece we were 4-star, but we needed another to get some additional training to get that 5. So we hope to get all of that this time when we do it again. But this particular space just provided everything that was needed. It has the electrical outlets, so bathroom, water, sink, and just the benefits of having this space. Now, when we actually have an opportunity for parents to just tour the center, and we still do tours after 6 o'clock on Saturdays, we showcase that particular room. So if a parent is breastfeeding, we encourage them to continue to do that, show them a space that they can do this in. And also we have the outdoor space now that we have a glider on the infant toddler playground. They can come out and rock on the playground. They'll be able to, up under the shade trees to be able to breastfeed as well. So just really offering opportunities for families just to, continue to breastfeed and make sure their children are staying healthy. And I think Faith is up next, and she can share about that picture with all that milk.
Thanks, Anna. Yeah, I did see Faith joined, and I was curious about all this milk too. So Faith is with us now, and I love this picture y'all shared. Thank you for sharing that.
Hello, I am Faith McLean, the mother of twins. A couple things we're gonna go through because I know you guys all have the questions. Is yes, there's 2. Yes, I am sleep deprived. Yes, they are the best blessings of my life. Yes, they came from me. No, they're not trouble. And yes, now we are going on 27 months for breastfeeding. Yes, thank you. So, it has been a great journey. Just being a parent to twin boys, Evan and Eli are their names. We've always said that, God knew we could handle it, so he blessed us with 2. In this process, breastfeeding, my husband and I, we've always said that it would be the best thing for them, just because there are a lot of benefits in breastfeeding. There are a lot of wellness benefits that just keep the baby healthy, as Ms. Maria was speaking about before, keeping up their immune system. They get a lot of antibodies from the mother. There is also a benefit and a connection for the mother and the child. So if you are the type of parent that loves to stay connected with your child on like a skin to skin level, when you're breastfeeding, you will definitely get that when you're doing so, especially for children. There are some children who can't sleep without having that skin to skin contact. So it creates a connection between the child and the breastfeeding parent. Also too, it can save you time and money. Depending on how you go about breastfeeding. If you are exclusively breastfeeding, which means straight from breast to the child's mouth, you don't have to worry about bottles. You don't have to worry about making bottles, spending money on anything else. It simply just comes to making sure that you are healthy to produce the amount of milk that you need for your child. So there are many benefits for us. The biggest one was just keeping them overall healthy, especially in this day and age with the pandemic. We really rely on breastfeeding to keep our twin boys healthy. Benefits of having a lactation space as a mom. It was very beneficial, especially in their first year of life for me. Not so much now because I've become a little bit of a master of it now. So it's a little bit more easier for me to just, go straight into breastfeeding and not need to set up. But when they're babies, when they're infants, it's a little more challenging. You have to make sure you either have your pillow or a right space, a right setup so that they can be safe as you're breastfeeding. So for us at community school, we have the Serenity Place, as Anna was speaking about. The Serenity Place provided me a safe space for my children to be able to breastfeed them and have a good breastfeeding experience. It also provided a space of just serenity for me, as the title, serenity for me, just because you kind of have that isolation from the outside world. So as you know, the rest of the craziness in the classrooms are going on, you know, you don't have to interrupt the kids' daily routine in the classroom because you're breastfeeding and all the kids want to come over and see what you're doing. Although there's nothing wrong with that. I support that 100% if you want to breastfeed anywhere. But it just gives you a separate space to do what you need to do for you and your child, and it actually make it an effective breastfeeding experience for you and your child. As an employee, the space also provides us just the same thing, an area to relax, an area to, you know, kind of let our hair down because we're working with the kids all day. It allows us to be able to have our lunch in here. If we need to come in here and just do planning, do progress reports, get ready for parent-teacher conferences as we are this week. It definitely is a great space for that. If we need to have meetings, mini meetings, we can do them in here. So it also provides that dual space for a parent and for an employee. So I am really thankful for the Serenity Place because it was kind of like my second home. As I was going through that first year of life, I spent a lot of hours in here with my two boys. So I am thankful for community school for having this space for me, and also other parents, because there's been times where you share the space with another mother, and same thing, it gives you that bonding experience with other parents as well. So it offers opportunities for that. In the picture that you saw in the slide before, the milk, so I had a good breastfeeding experience. I was able to produce a lot of milk, actually. So I was very proud of that because most mothers struggle, especially I know mothers of multiples, that is one of their biggest fear is to struggle to not be able to feed their child in their first year of life, because that is when it is a necessity, not just an option. So I was very thankful that I could produce this right here. Is probably anywhere from 500 to 700 ounces. My mother's refrigerator, her deep freezer, was very full of milk because I was just producing more than what the kids were drinking. So I had my fridge pack, my freezer, I had my mother's deep freezer pack. So this is everything that got transferred over to her house plus more. And then I was also able to donate a lot of this milk because my kids were a little picky and they wanted it straight from the breast. So I was able to donate a lot of this milk to a mother in need that could not produce as much milk for her child. And he needed more because of his health condition. So I was able to donate her about 550 ounces of milk. So that was also a very proud moment of our journey.
Faith, thank you so much. Talking with Faith a little while back, and she told me she was still nursing these twins, and I said, "You are a testament to having this space."
Yes, but we're gonna stop this. We're gonna stop this real soon.
Oh, that's great.
Do you all have any questions for Faith or Anna before we move on to the next section? Anybody have a question for them, or you can type something in the chat?
Mm-hmm.
I will share one other thing. The next time you see our space, you see this? This is the new color. It's blue, grays, and whites, and that will be with some colors of pink and added to it. So that would be our new space.
So she's remodeling, y'all.
Yes.
Even though it was very beautiful before, it'll be as beautiful or more next, I'm sure. Well, thank you both for joining us today. We appreciate you taking time out of the very busy day. We know you have it at the center. So I was just going to speak for a minute on behalf of Carly Pedrati. I think I'm saying her name right. She owns the family childcare home called Little Sweet Potatoes. I totally love that name, in Chatham County. Jessica Bridgman recommended her to us because she had received the state designation for her family childcare home before it went offline for a while. And she wanted y'all to know she's got a very open floor plan in her home. And so she's got this little couch that she keeps in the corner, and she can swivel it around or move it as she needs to. But it's all kind of in a multi-purpose space. So moms that are nursing right in there with the children. There is a hand washing sink in this room, and she said there's plugs everywhere if a mom wants to or needs to pump. And she didn't really spend any extra money at all, she said, because she just used what she already had on hand, which I thought was great. She talked a little bit about, the fact that applying for the designation was beneficial to her, in that she wrote a policy, which she had never had before. So now she's got a policy about breastfeeding. She's added more toys and books that are related to breastfeeding. And so she just thinks that process of, applying for the breastfeeding designation helped her make her center more breastfeeding friendly. And I love this picture she sent of all of these animals on the little softball, all the various ones. And clearly some children maybe set this up to show the babies feeding on the moms, which is so cute. One thing she did emphasize was, she said, it's important to think about the space. And it's great, particularly in a family childcare home. She said, if you have a chair that you can move around, and so that way, if a mom wants more privacy, she can kind of face the corner, or you could even potentially, depending on your space, she might be able to sit in a different room. But she said she'd had various moms who were really comfortable breastfeeding their kids outside, inside. Others that wanted a little more privacy, and she would just flip that little couch around. It could slide on the floor and just kind of create space as she needed it for the moms that were interested. She said she didn't have any moms right now. Her kids had gotten a little bit bigger, but she was really glad that she had this space and that she had gone ahead and applied for the designation. So I thank her for sending me all this info. I'm going to turn it over to Natasha here.
Yeah. So one of the biggest things, and Jessica, feel free to jump in anytime, or anybody that's part of our cool team that's creating these. One of the major things that we really want to let everyone know is that you can breastfeed anywhere in the child care center, and it's not considered indecent exposure. And so some centers do have a little bit of a challenge with that sometimes, depending if they want to breastfeed out in public, they can, or if they want to breastfeed in the infant room, or if they want to breastfeed in the private space. Just wanted to let you know that they can do that anywhere, and just being open to helping moms be comfortable. Next slide, please. And then Jessica's put the link to the law in the chat for you. According to DCDE rules, this one actually has a rule to allow you to create a lactation space for your moms. You do not have to have a separate space. What you do have to have is seating and an electrical outlet and in a place other than a bathroom. So most people put this space in the infant toddler room, and it needs to be shielded from view from the public and the staff. That's all that you're required. This is part of the feeding plan, paced bottle feeding, storage, and labeling. But the biggest thing to just remember is that you do need to provide a space for your moms. And even with COVID, you are required to allow them to come in and breastfeed. That is part of what DCDE rules say. You don't have to have a separate space, but a separate space is really wonderful, especially for your employees, or a place where they can feel comfortable to pump. Because sometimes that's really challenging for moms to get a letdown with a high activity. So just thinking about how you can change that up. Next slide, please. All right. Well, we all work together on this one. And our presenters, feel free to jump in with this one if you want to. We were looking at what can your space include.
Love these signs they had. Lynn sent a bunch of these slides. I particularly like this one that says, there's a little place here where you could put a picture of your baby, saying, let's not stress about pumping, that kind of thing. They had done a really nice job with their room over there. So yeah. I wanted to share those images.
And when you're talking about like what your space has to have, you're required seating, an outlet, shielding from views, shielding from staff, and a non-bathroom. That's it. But recommended, you've seen all these beautiful spaces, and we have a few more on the PowerPoint, just some great ideas, but you recommended to make it as comfortable and beautiful as possible. So having a table to hold a pump, whether it's an electric or manual, a sink with water nearby, soft lighting. So that is one of the things that sometimes really gets a room as you walk into the room, and then you have all this fluorescent lighting and, you know, that crackle of the light. Trying to have something, maybe a small lamp is really nice. A white noise machine, a lot of parent feedback, and we have Gabriel on here from Werner, and when we had Anya from Werner to do a presentation for us on creating a breastfeeding friendly childcare center, and in her space, she found that when they surveyed their moms, that was one of the most important things that they come up with was a white noise machine and water. A resource area, attractive decor, and a tiny fountain or aromatherapy. Those are just recommended ideas.
So as we've said, breastfeeding is allowed anywhere in your program. You're supposed to be able to allow moms to breastfeed. At the same time, if you have a separate space that you can repurpose, you've seen some great examples of this here. I've seen storage closets turned into breastfeeding rooms, all kinds of stuff. The space within the infant toddler classroom is sort of the minimum that you need to have according to the laws. It does need to be able to provide some privacy. And then I really like the way Anna's done this, and I know other schools have done this as well, where they really go ahead and use this, because you may go for some months without a breastfeeding mom, and your space just sitting there. So being able to use that, particularly for therapy and just quiet time, as I think Faith really spoke to this, just that having that opportunity to just kind of decompress a little bit, right, and get away from the classroom and whatever else is going on, just to take a moment for yourself. So there are a lot of different ways you can use screens. You can use curtains. You can use the curtains that go. Shauna found these, I think it was Target or Home Depot, like in a hospital room with a curtain that's on the ceiling that you can pull around. And that's kind of a nice feature, particularly if you're in the classroom, I think, you know, to have like a folding screen or something like that you could put up against the wall when no one's using it, and maybe even have it anchored to the wall so the kids don't push it over. But then when a mom is there and wants to have some privacy, she could just open that up, and you're not really taking away from your space in your classroom all the time. It's just temporary. And yeah, ask families and staff what they think is a good idea. Where do you think we should put this? Get people's involvement, get people's engagement. Natasha, you are on fundraising.
Oh, yeah. So with fundraising, it's very personal what your centers are required or allowed to do. Every center does something a little different. And a lot of times, if you're a church-based center, there's already a fundraising option that goes on. So sometimes you can get with the church and figure out what's going on. If you are a private center, you may have a fundraising employee, or a whole entire section of your employee staff may be for fundraising. So really connecting with who is around your center that does fundraising is the first step, specifically because they may have options that are really easy for you to just tap right into. Sometimes if you're a school-based center, sometimes the schools have a parent program that they already have a pool of money that parents donate into that you have access to, like pre-K environments sometimes have quite a bit of funding. So those are some options for you to think about as when you think about what type of center you are and what you're looking for. Now, if none of those are above, you can put up a board that promotes your program and what you're doing, kind of like Darlene did, which is fantastic. And you can put a list of what you need. So a lot of parents are really willing to donate what they don't need anymore. Do they have a rocker glider? Do they have a curtain that they're not using? Do they have some extra wallpaper? Most of the time you'll get everything that you need. If you are a nonprofit, Facebook fundraisers are wonderful because you get 100% of the proceeds mailed to you. So you can set one up and promote it, and it's pretty easy. And then you just get a check for the full amount. They don't take any money from that. If you are private, I wouldn't suggest a Facebook fundraiser. I would do maybe a public fundraiser. There's also a project jar requesting donations. I mean, you don't really need a whole lot, especially if you're shopping consignment and getting donations. You don't really need a lot of money to set up a room. And so having like a little jar at the sign-in desk with maybe some signs up, that's a great way to get a little extra funding. but I'd really like them with the breastfeeding boards because it gives them an idea of what you're doing around the whole center to support them. Also looking at things like grants such as Aeroflow. Aeroflow has a room makeover contest every year, and they provide the room makeover, they provide money and time, and it's really great. Oh, and I did not put on here, but most businesses offer a really great thing to their volunteers. They have every business that offers a volunteer option for their employees will give you money, and they'll give you time, and sometimes they'll give you the materials. So like I set up Farm Credit with one of my sites. They gave them $500, 5 employees for 5 hours. One of our partnerships had set someone up with like Cato's, and they gave them $800, 8 employees for 8 hours. So you can use that money any way you want to. So you could set up a whole room, have them come in and paint the room, and they'll give you the money to set it up. So just looking around at what businesses have fundraiser and volunteer programs. And then flea market, consignment, Habitat, Goodwill, those you're always going to find, just kind of like what Anna was saying, that there's some really great finds out there. And but another fun one that I like is ice cream socials and kids art sales. So those seem to be real fun, and they're really cool ways to make a little bit of funds to do things. Anyone else have anything to add? Darlene or Faith or Anna?
I want to add one thing, not about necessarily fundraising, but about art in general. The pictures that are in our room, I went to Florida and took pictures of the plants and the grass and all of those things, bought $1 frames from the dollar store, and that was the pictures that you saw on the wall. So another way to keep the cost down, in addition to putting children's art in the room as well.
That is a great idea.
And parents love children's art, I have to say. They will buy that anytime. We've done children's art shows.
Right?
That's a
$5.
great idea. Mhm.
Yeah.
And also to things that I find would be helpful for a lot of mothers, because the first year is very stressful, just to make sure that you can even breastfeed your child. Just put inspiring quotes in the room as well. If you want to attach it, like the picture that you guys saw of me, the tired mother picture when we did our gallery for the parents, I put a quote under it. So it would be nice to see things like that in breastfeeding rooms from mothers, just to tell them, like, keep going, you're doing a great job. Don't worry about, not being able to produce as much today than you did yesterday. Just giving them some uplifting spirits, because they don't oftentimes hear it, and they don't oftentimes have the support. So us being that support system, that would be another option for that.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And I know, Werner, you guys had a couple of those. You have some inspiring quotes up there. And Darlene, I've seen yours. That's a great idea.
Just want to talk a little bit about my fundraising that I had. I actually put 2 into 1. It was a car wash and fundraising, but I was actually raising money not only for my breastfeeding section or just anything in the building really, but for my garden. And we had raised so much money from the people coming in. But when they got the tour of what I was raising the money for, that made them want to give more. The car wash was only like $20, but or $15 or $20 for larger vehicles. And I had some people just give me $100 in my hand. Hey, you doing this? This is so nice. It's for the children. Oh, you're doing this for the mothers. Oh, that is so nice. Oh, and we raised a little close to $900 in one car wash setting. And I thought that was one great idea. So we decided to do that, the car wash, at least 2 times a year. So, just so I can, help do other things in the building as well. So.
That's a great idea.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you could add it,
Excellent.
You could combine them and do a car wash with an ice cream social and an art sale up.
Yeah. And actually we did have a bake sale. We did have some items that we had gotten that a friend of mine had baked some goodies, but of course I still had like juice and stuff like that, but you can just pick up and enjoy yourself while you're taking the tour, So it was really, really nice. It was really, really nice.
That's awesome. Thank you all, ladies. This is wonderful. Yeah.
Okay. I don't have any other thoughts about fundraising really at the moment, but does anybody have any other questions for any of our presenters, I want to thank again Darlene and Anna and Faith for coming on today. It's just always so great to see actual examples of what folks have done and hear from you all about your experiences. It's just really powerful. I'm so glad we're recording this today because we didn't have a lot of people register this time out, but I know people are going to be really interested in this session. We'll be sharing it. Last but not least, we want to thank all of our partners. We can't do this alone. We have Enriched Carolinas from the Global Breastfeeding Institute. And I do want to point out to you all that you should visit their website and go into the childcare section. They've got some beautiful new posters up that you can download and print out for free that support breastfeeding, and all of the materials like the one we saw early in the presentation with the orange panel on it for parents, and purple borders are for centers. The Buncombe County Partnership, which is where Natasha is, in Orange County, where I and Shauna are. And of course, the NC Partnership for Children, which is our mothership, I say, up in Raleigh. Breastfeed Durham is the local coalition there. Darlene, you might be interested in seeing what they're up to. And Breastfeed Orange is our local coalition here in Orange County. This is our brand new logo. We're pretty excited about it, the little blue one here that Kathleen helped to create. So where there's a lot of good work going on. We're just trying to promote breastfeeding across all the counties, but several of us that are involved in this work here are located here in Orange, Durham, and Buncombe. And we appreciate you all and everything you do every day for the kids and the families in your community.